am thankful that she shared it with me. So it's been 29 years since I've been cancer-free. And so the way I look at that is because of that, I got involved with Shackley. I'm so glad I did because not only did it help my health, but I started sharing with other people, trying to share with other people, Shackley, and that gave me the opportunity to also do a business and help other people. So when my kids got old enough to go on to college, I actually didn't have to take out a loan to go to college. So that was a great plus, and all that was from helping other people. So, now I look at it and the freedom I've had with Shackley to be able to come and go as I need to, help all kinds of people. And basically now when I look back at the 29 years since I've got started in Shackley, taking Shackley, I think now my kids are grown. I've got to watch them grow up, go to school, go to college, got to be the room mom, all that kind of stuff. But now they're married with kids. And it wasn't because of Shackley that basically I've been cancer-free. I believe it is. My biggest thing, even when I was pregnant, it's like you do whatever you can. And if something happens, at least you've done what you can. And I believe that Shackley has helped me to give me the lifestyle that I have and has also given me my health and kept me alive so that I have been cancer-free for all those years. So that's my story. Any questions on it?
Great, Karen. I forgot to start the recording, but, so I missed just a few sentences that you said in the very beginning. But what were you diagnosed with in the very beginning?
I had stage 2 melanoma skin cancer.
And this was how many years ago?
29 now.
29. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Man, melanoma is not a good one to be diagnosed with.
No, I was really, I've had some friends, unfortunately, that didn't choose the same route I went with, and they didn't last even 5 years. So I feel very blessed that I have not had it return.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's right. Oh, yes, PJ.
We're getting a lot of feedback, and I think it's because you and Karen are both on, and when Karen's talking, if you mute, I think the feedback.
Oh, I should mute. Okay. Okay.
I have a question. This is Rosemary, Karen, for you.
Mm-hmm.
What products were you taking again when you got your cancer diagnosis?
I basically started with that basic starting stuff, your protein, your Vital E, and Herblax. That's what we started everyone with, it seems like at the time. My biggest thing is I got the cleaning products out of my house. Last week I talked about the fact that I had migraines so bad, and the cleaning products, getting all those chemicals out of my house, really made a huge difference, that I wasn't using them. I've never been a sun worshiper, but I made sure that I always protect myself from the sun now, so those are some of the things. But I started on the very basics when I got started. Of course, now I take the shelf just because I know all the benefits of all the good stuff that we got. Any other questions?
That's amazing.
Did you make diet changes?
I definitely had to change my diet, only because at the time I did a lot of stress eating with a 3 and a 5-year-old. And, we did the normal stuff that everybody did. Go to McDonald's, eat quick. I drank a lot of coffee at that time, which I've no longer drink coffee, but I used to drink a lot of coffee. It's hard to believe, but I used to smoke cigarettes. I gave that up. I did a lot of stuff to make sure that I tried to give myself the best chance to survive, so one of those things. Any other questions?
How long was it before you were declared cancer-free?
They pretty much, with mine, they cut it all out. So with skin cancer. They had to go down deep and stuff, but they got it all out. So I didn't have to go on to the chemo and the radiation, and it was contained. I was very lucky because they said it was just starting to spider and go into the next phase. So if it would have gone into that phase, they said there wasn't a whole lot they could do for me, but they caught it early enough that my survival rate was a lot higher. So get yourself checked all the time. I still get checked every year just to keep, on everything. So, any other questions? I don't see any hands up, so I guess we're good. Unmute yourself, Marion.
Okay, did that stop the feedback when I muted? Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Okay, good. Okay. Thank you, Karen. I myself, I do a group of the cancer tests every year to kind of see where my cancer markers are, to make certain that they're not even close to the, baseline and what the high number is or anything like that. But, I did have one year. It's been 5 years ago or more, maybe now. And the cancer one that I always have done, and see, the medical profession, bless their hearts, they work so hard, but they don't, this is not their approach. They do not have you do, like the cancer one is 15-3, CA 15-3. And they don't have you do that. They wait until you get breast cancer and diagnose you. And then if you ask them to, they'll check out your D3 and they'll check out your, your cancer markers and all of that kind of thing. If you ask them to, and then sometimes they kind of balk at doing it. So, I have to pay for it out of my pocket. It's, I don't know, between $500 and $1,000 a year. But what is that compared to my life?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do, there's 5 of them. And of course, the CEA is 8 organs, tests 8 organs. And then the CA 125 is the ovarian and it's the peritoneal. Then there's the CA 15-3 that is the breast cancer. CA 19-9 is pancreatic. There's another one at 29.3, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. But those are markers that I do. And I am so grateful to Shaklee for what I have learned through, one avenue or another that I've learned these things. I learned a lot of it with Martha Wellmore, and we had Joyce Johnson back 100 years ago. And, different people, different conferences that I've gone to. Whenever we have meetings, it's so important to go because you always, always, always learn. I don't care if you've heard this stuff. You know how many times I've heard everything? I'm going on to 44 years. So there's been a lot of times that I've listened and I've heard some of the same stuff, but I hear some new stuff. This year, one of the new things that Linda Courtney and I picked up on was Martha had talked about GLA being a natural steroid. Well, we don't either one want to be on steroids for some of the issues that we have. So I make certain I'm taking a lot of GLA. And so there's always things that you learn. I don't care how many times you've been there. I'll have people say to me, oh, I've been there before. Well, whatever. So, okay, Karen, do you have your gal on and ready to go?
She does not have a computer.
Okay.
So if you want to turn yours off, I'll give her story.
Okay.
Okay, Rosemary did ask, why do people take GLA? So that you can answer. That's okay. I'll go on and tell the story if you want. Okay. Well, my lady Lisa could not be on. She doesn't have a computer, but she gave me permission to share her story. And she also said that if anyone is interested in talking to her, and she'd be glad to talk to anybody about what she did and stuff like that, feel free that, you know, I can get the phone number for you. She's very open to talk to people. She looks at Shaklee as such a lifesaver. And when I met her back in 2003, she had leg tremors. She couldn't even hardly stand. Couldn't write her name. I would have to fill out a check for her when she needed stuff. Just so many different things. I used to do her hair for her. And when I gave her her perm, she'd have to kneel on the floor and lean into the bathtub because she couldn't stand long enough for me to rinse out her hair and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of met her, through those kind of things. But she was actually diagnosed with MS in '94. She started having symptoms like in '86, but it took them 7 years to be able to diagnose her. From every test she had to take, you know, they told her she needed to see a therapist because it was all in her head, and she knew that what she was going through was not, you know, how she felt. She had a brother that did Shaklee back when she was like 14, and she took it then, and she said, I remember feeling so good, but he got out of the business like right away. You know, for some reason he moved, and at that time we had to go to our supervisors to get products, and it wasn't like today where you could just get it in the mail. So she had quit doing it. So when somebody told her about Shaklee, she was very excited and said, I remember feeling great then. I'm willing to take a try. So we started on stuff. At the time, she was on 23 different meds when I first started with her. Now she only takes 2 because she also has scoliosis. So she takes some stuff, other meds, but those aren't for the MS. But one of the things that she said was her major thing that helped with all of her symptoms was the protein. And I had to get, you know, a little bit rough with her because at first she's like, I don't want to try the protein. And I said, you know, I used my mommy voice, as she always called it. And I'm like, come on, you want to feel better? You take this. I love you enough. You need to take this. So she started to. And she said that within a short period of time, she went back about 8 years in how she felt. Her tremors went away. She was able to write her name again. She was able to put earrings in. She could balance her checkbook. Her vision became clearer. She didn't have the mind fog that she was having, just all kinds of things. And at that time, she was on a drug called Avonex that helped. It was kind of like Betaseron, Avonex. It's like a synthetic interferon that she would take, but she would lose like a whole day when she'd be on it. And she said it felt like she was drunk and stoned at the same time. And then the next day, when she kind of came out of it, it would take her a couple days to feel better. And by the time she felt better, she had to take another Avonex. So I shared Nutriferon with her, which is our natural interferon, and she no longer lost any days. And she was able to go off her Avonex and her symptoms. So that made a huge difference for her. And then, of course, when Vivix came out, she swears by Vivix and how it makes her feel. She believes that the vitamin E was a big one for her, and the lecithin for the myelin sheathing on the end of her nerves were a big positive. The the osteomatrix and the magnesium helped her with bone and muscle pain and was able to help her sleep at night. So some of those were big ones. the B complex for her nervous system, so she didn't have to take any antidepressants, or we were able to take her off some of that stuff. So she looks at it too that, was Shaklee a lifesaver? Since she's been on Shaklee, she has not had a aspiration, or however you pronounce that, where you kind of like have those attacks, because she has chronic progressive MS, where she would go along, then she'd have one of these, I think it's pronounced aspirations or something like that, and then she'd get worse, then she'd go along and she'd have another one. So she has not had one of those at all since she's been on Shaklee now. So what is that, 15 years? So she looks at it for her, and she tells me all the time, I thank you every day for the life that I now have. Her kids were very young also, like mine were when I had my cancer. And she's watched them grow up and go through college and move out on their own, just like I have. And she thanks me for telling her and sharing it. And she believes that without Shaklee, she would not be here today, because she was progressing so badly. But she also said if she would have stayed on when she was 14, she may not have never had MS. So, sometimes you don't know what's going to help you, but she believes that Shaklee has been the thing that has made a huge difference in where she's at today. And she's still walking, which is amazing. The doctors told her she wouldn't be walking at all, and she's still walking with the help still of her walker, but she gets around. She comes to my house. She's able to walk upstairs. She has a tri-level at her house, and there's no bathrooms on her main floor. So she has to go up a flight of stairs every time she needs to go to the bathroom. So, she stayed mobile. So if anybody has any questions, maybe I can help you answer them. If not, I can give you her phone number, and she would be glad to help. If anyone has issues with it, that she could possibly help with Shaklee. So
I have a son-in-law who has problems with the beginning stages of MS.
mhm.
So I would be interested in that phone number. Can you?
Should I share it publicly? Are we recording this? Yes? Okay. I mean, I can share it. She said I'm welcome to share it. So if you have a pen, go ahead and write this down. Area code 219-663-4073. And her name is Lisa. Okay? And she said, give her a call. She'll help.
Is that her mobile phone? Does she text?
No, that's just her regular phone. She doesn't have a cell phone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions that maybe I can help with? Okay.
Karen, great story. I mean, you know what? Why do we do Shaklee? We do Shaklee. Yeah, sure, we make an income from it. But when you make an income, you're helping a lot of people. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing like having them call up and say, you know what, I feel better. My life is better. And as I remember, I believe any story that I've heard on MS, protein was always a big factor, a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
They always need. I remember Brenda McCummins saying that. What was it? I think she used a cup of protein a day. You remember, Karen?
I know it was a big one, and Lisa makes sure that she takes every day. She takes her protein, and then she keeps our bars next to her because her husband works, so she's there a lot of times by herself, and she uses those bars for food to keep her going, and the Vivix twice a day.
Karen, I remember talking with Brenda McCummins at a couple of the Shaklee conventions, and she said if you can get them to do nothing else, have a person with MS change their cleaners out first of all,
Mm-hmm.
to reduce a lot of the toxins in their environment. has Lisa done this? And do you know if she's made diet changes as well? Because I understand there's a lot in the diet that can aggravate MS as well.
I think she could do better on the diet because her husband cooks, so it's hard when somebody else is doing your cooking. So a big part of her diet is her shake in the morning with all of her vitamins and her bars for lunch. And then whatever he's able or willing, because he can cook, So sometimes I wish that he would get more on board with realizing how diet affects things. And they do use some of them, but not all of the cleaners because somebody else has to do that. So I wish she'd get more on board. I think she'd feel better, if her environment was better with that. You got to take baby steps sometimes with people.
Okay, you know what? I'm so happy that somebody was patient with me because it took me 2 years. I use the skincare. I used it for 2 years. I didn't need those vitamins. I had horrible headaches. I didn't feel good. I had arthritis. I was on Decadron, but the vitamins were too simple. But you know what? Those people just wouldn't go away. And they kept, I don't know, I kind of realized that my headaches had started to go away. And when that took place, that's what got my attention. Because, my brother-in-law is the one that sponsored me in. And he had left to go to North Carolina, I think it was, because he was going to get some new teeth. And I guess it was cheaper down there or something, I don't know. But anyhow, he went to get teeth. And while he was gone, my protein can was going down. And I was out looking for somebody else to get me some of that stuff. And I would have sponsored it under him, not knowing, that it made any difference where I sponsored at. But how many times do you hear of people, like somebody mentioned, her brother, Lisa's brother, had used Shaklee, gotten a business, I guess, or something, but he didn't stay long. He didn't stay long. Maybe he didn't ask enough questions. I don't know. Maybe his upline didn't, care about helping out with something. I don't know. But how many times do you hear that? And so we have such a responsibility as a user and a supplier of the products and all of that. We have such a responsibility to let people know how to use those. Clinton just asked me to expand on the GLA. From what Martha said, of course, GLA, we always think of that as taking it for your hormones. How what Martha referred to at the conference when we had her was how it was a natural steroid. And, I know now Linda Courtney's going to tell her story next week on the Crohn's. But I know she takes a lot of the GLA now, and she'll have to tell you how much that's helped her in that, because I haven't asked her that question in the last week or so. But anyhow, maybe Jay, do you know any answers to that on how it's helped her? Oops. Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll find out next week. But anyhow, that the GLA, that is, I always think of it in terms of women's hormones, but then she told about, let's see, you're supposed to take, 2 omegas for 1 GLA? I believe that's what, was that right, Sandy? Thank you. So anyhow, I don't take that much omega because I do take, I take about 8 GLA a day. And so anyhow, but that's, and then she just said to use it as a steroid. It's a natural steroid. Now, you know, it won't work as quickly as a steroid does. I'm talking about medication. It doesn't work as fast, but if you've got a need for that and you continue with that, that's when you see the results. It's just like with, you know, all of these products. You know, they don't work as fast as a drug. So anyhow, okay, anybody else got any questions on any of that? The MS. I mean, that's so incredible, Karen. What an incredible person you are to share that with her. And you know, every one of us, we care enough to let people know about the products and how they can help. I wanted to share with you just a little short thing on Martha's Blast that she talked about again this year on when she was here. You know, thank goodness I hadn't been sick after I'd heard about it until this last weekend when Chicago was going on. And of course, I'd already paid my money and all of that, but you know, then I sick and couldn't go. But anyhow, but when I realized I was getting sick, and according to Martha's Blast, the first thing you do in the morning is 3 to 6 vitamin C, 3 to 6 DR, defend and resist, 3 to 6 garlic. With the garlic, I always take Easy Jest, and I double the Easy Jest. I have to because I'm one of those that you might not want to sit around because I can get an odor from it. 3 to 6 Nutrifuron and 3 Optiflora. Now, as far as the Optiflora, I would say your DR, you could replace that with a DR, you know, there, you know, because we didn't have the DR, or not DR, I mean DI. So anyhow, and then every 1 to 3 hours for the rest of the day, 1 C, 1 DR, 1 garlic, and 1 Nutrifuron. Now, I didn't do that just like that this weekend. I did 4 times a day. Now, you can do what you want to do, and that's up to everybody. But I continued using like about 6C, 6DR, and I always put my DR in a cup of tea, a cup of hot water, and that's how it works best for me. Now, I don't know about, and they say you can chew it, you can swallow it, you can do whatever you want to do with it, and it works. However, I found for me, the tea works the best. So anyhow, then of course the garlic, I continued with 6 garlic, and then I continued with 6 Nutrifuron, and of course the Optiflora. Now, what I did, when I did that, I did that 4 times a day. So that's a lot of stuff, with the exception of the Nutrifuron, because I have an issue that, you know, I don't think I should take quite that much Nutrifuron, although I was still taking 12. So anyhow, but I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing, the results. I still got a little bit of the hack, you know, but what I found is that the DR, that stuff with that tea, works so wonderful for cough. I mean, I had a coughing binge, and I drank that tea. I think I drank a couple cups of it. I always throw 6 in a cup. And, you know, when I did, I'll tell you what, that just, it was like it stopped that coughing. And that was wonderful. You see, I haven't had any DR today. So I'm just telling you a little story.
Marion, is that for being sick or just upper respiratory and
Anything. Martha was telling about it in reference to a urinary tract infection. And she was urinating blood. And she got rid of that in a few hours. I mean, of that, I think she said, I remember, I think she said 7 hours. I'll
Can
take
you
that.
repeat the directions again?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you repeat the directions again? I was typing it.
Okay, you mean the 3 to 6 vitamin C? Is that what you mean? Is that what you want? 3 to 6 defend and resist?
Yes.
Okay, 3 to 6 garlic, 3 to 6 interferon, and 3 optiflora. That's what you start out with in the day. And then every 1 to 3 hours, you do 1 of the C, 1 DR, 1 garlic, and 1 interferon. And then before bedtime, you just repeat what you did in the morning with this. And of course, should you end up on an antibiotic, which I do, that's why I took so much garlic. I just did not want to end up, on an antibiotic. So I took all that garlic, and when my office gal walked in the house on Monday morning, I said, "Do you smell garlic?" She says, "Oh yeah, I smelled it when I walked in the house," and I thought, "Oh my gosh," And she said that I just thought you were cooking something. I says, "No. It was me. I was standing right next to her, of course, so which was why she got a good whiff. But anyhow, when you're with a group of Shaklee people, it's okay, I guess. However, I didn't go to my eye appointment today because I was afraid and Kurt can't smell anything. So I was afraid I might chase him out of the room or something.
Marion, that's why we do Zoom calls.
Yes, yeah, that's right. You guys, aren't you happy that you don't have to be near me tonight? Hopefully I'm rid of part of it. The other thing is on the follow-up after an antibiotic, and let me share this with you. The first week you take 4 optiflora per day. And then the second week you take 3 optiflora per day. The third week you take 2 optiflora a day. The fourth week, 1 optiflora. Now this is to, of course, get the good bacteria back into the colon and all of that kind of thing. But I can tell you, that was the first time I had to use the blast. But boy, let me tell you something, it worked. And it worked pretty quickly because I think it was about, let's see, we were going to leave on Friday. So it would have been Friday that I started about midday with that. And then Saturday all day was the 24 of all that stuff. And then Sunday I did it again. And so, and by Monday, well, she could smell garlic, but other than that, I was feeling pretty good. So anyhow, I just want to share that blast with you because, we are in the season of getting that kind of stuff, that's going around. Okay.
Hey, Marion, do you think you could share that, send that out in an email, all those things?
Yeah, I can send it out on the email.
Okay.
I may not have Cheryl or Helene's email address, but I don't know whose groups they're in. Is Helene in anybody's group here? No? Okay. Helene, let me give you my email address, and if you would like that immune boost recipe by email, it's she's at Beth and Andres. Okay, great. So happy to have you, and so happy to know where you're from. So anyhow, my email address is mmWeimer2006@gmail.com. So if you'd like that, I will send this out to all of our group here. I can forward that on to Roland and ask him to forward it to his group if he wants to. But anyhow, I will go ahead and forward that and send that to all of you. Linda will be on next week with Crohn's, her Crohn's story. And what a change. And we're going to tell just a little bit about how they got into business too. It's real short, but it was real quick. But it was listening. And also, I want to remind you, just get on Roland's. Oh, okay, we've got her email address. I don't have it. Let's see. HVONS. Okay, at Yahoo. Okay, HVONS at Yahoo. Okay, that's Helene's address. Okay, next week is at, now it's, Nina will be back, I believe, and we'll be using her room. And that will be the 797-203-3056. That'll be the room for next week. And from here, we was just using my room tonight because Nina's on a cruise with her kids. So anyhow, okay, 797-206-3056. And Roland's is on at 8 o'clock. Oops, I didn't catch what you asked for, Anita. Could you unmute and just ask me what you...
I would like the immune booster formula, if you could send it out to me, please.
The Immune Blast?
Yes,
Okay, sure. Oh, that's right.
thank you.
You're in Roland's, okay. Okay, well, I will do that. Then Roland's number for tonight, and which every night, we'll always have this thing on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, except Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We won't do it then, okay? So Roland's number, 837-256-5595. And that's it for tonight. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the
Could you repeat that one more time?
Sure, it's Roland's tonight is 837-256-5595. Okay?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
See you after a bit.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Now, Roland's got some good stuff to share tonight. So from the weekend, that they had an extra day. Actually, they had an extra 2 days with Richard. So anyhow, talk to you later. Thank you for being on.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oops, stop the recording.